Welcome to the Auto Fixation Podcast, a loud pedal production with your host Mark Farouk and Matt Powers.
So you're with us now in the 6th episode. We're still here, 6 in. I don't know how we made it this far.
Yep.
For all 3 of our listeners, we went from 2 to 3.
Hey, nice.
Yeah, so we're doing pretty well.
Yeah, very good. And is
I think
Andy still leaving 1-star reviews?
Is he still leaving 1-star reviews? I think your mom is our 3rd listener, so that's helpful. Thanks to Ms. Powers for that.
She told me she just plays it and then walks away. It's just for the analytics.
Wait, exactly. Maybe there's a dog listening somewhere in the background. If you missed our last episode, we had a great interview with Farouk Kagai, who's the manager at Sonoma Drift. And also a professional drift driver. If you haven't checked it out, please listen to that. It's probably one of our more interesting because he does most of the talking. You don't have to listen to us.
And just an all-around nice guy.
Yeah, super nice guy. Unfortunately, this time around, you're just stuck with us.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So we're going to get to it. A few things. So it's we're in the outdoor recording studio, as we call it. So if you hear some noise in the background, maybe freeway birds banging with hammers.
The freeway is appropriate. The freeway for this podcast.
That's true.
We could actually we could go closer to the freeway.
That works well.
Maybe next time.
We should do one right in the median of the freeway. Right down and dirty, or an underpass.
How close to the lanes do you want to stand?
Right, yeah. We could interview people. We would probably walk faster in morning traffic. We could interview people on their way to work.
Maybe that's what all those people are doing that you see now walking on the freeways. Have you noticed that? That's like a thing these days. That when I was younger, I'm sure when you were younger also, like you didn't really see people walking on the freeway. You see people walking on the freeway all the time now. Somebody who was walking on the freeway 20 years ago ran out of gas.
Yeah,
now they're using it as like a shortcut. And I mean, okay, in fairness, some
a shortcut.
Of it is,
or meth.
Right, well, exactly. I was going to say, some of these are like homeless people, I'm sure, not wanting to walk all the way around. But actually, I see like other folks out on the freeway.
So I'll tell you, you brought this up a few weeks ago. I was driving on south on 99, which is its own adventure unto itself. And I see a guy walking along the side. I don't see a car anywhere, and he seems kind of out of it. So I'm feeling like this is dangerous. So I call CHP, the non-emergency number, just say, hey, there's a guy walking on the side of the freeway. He's not going into traffic. I don't think he's going to, but I'm a little concerned. And the lady is obviously upset with me, the dispatcher, and says, well, you should call 911. I'm like, I see this all the time. Like, am I supposed to call 911 every time I see this? I'm just doing it because this guy seemed really out of it, and I'm concerned. But
I understand that, Mark, because I mean that's life threatening. I mean, if you're on the freeway, that is life threatening,
right.
And I think that does meet the threshold of calling 911.
You're probably right, but I just felt maybe I'm immune to this because you see it so much. I just another guy walking on the freeway.
Exactly.
Exactly. So I'm the bad person here, is what we've determined.
I was on a bike ride with my cousin down in like the Santa Barbara area, and he proposed like cycling on 101 at one point. He's like, there's a stretch of 101 where you're actually allowed to bike for some reason. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I was like, hey, it was a bad idea,
that
right?
That does sound really bad.
This is really dangerous.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of that area that I've taken that way. I think it's along the ocean. I think is a spot, but people still fly through there. I would not do that.
So now we have freeway noise and ringing.
I think that was a call from a future sponsor. I should have picked that up.
Stuff. They don't want your products.
Exactly. If you're interested in sponsoring, send us a message or call Matt. Evidently, you have his number already. So the weather's nice. That's one reason we're outside. It's beautiful out here. It's the beginning of March in Northern California, so that means summer is here already.
Yep.
We just skip past all the seasons. But one thing that's come up is, just some background of this is, I remember 10, 15 years ago, if you wanted to go to a car show and see like a wide range of cars, whether it's exotic, supercars, muscle, whatever you're into, you probably had to go to the Bay Area. Probably had to get up real early, go to San Francisco. Sacramento was slowly having some stuff. And now, in the current day, there's probably not a weekend that goes by where you could not find an amazing free cars and coffee event to go through or go to. And we just went to one this past Sunday.
Yes,
we went to the famed Euro Sunday, which is the fourth Sunday of every month at different locations. This was in Sacramento at the hosted by Luxury Motors. And so, what'd you think? That's the first time you've been to Euro Sunday, right?
That's the first time I've been to Euro Sunday. It was really cool. There's some real, like you said, I mean, I was not expecting as big of a turnout as there was. There's probably a few hundred people there, I would guess. Maybe more.
And that was the last, and you drove the Defender.
I drove my Defender.
He drove his Defender.
Fortunately, it started.
The last time it worked was at that event, right?
That's exactly right, Mark.
It got me home.
Yes. I dropped you off, parked it, and it has not run since. So it's approaching a week.
I think it worked out perfectly.
Running. Yeah, right, exactly. No, it was cool. There was a lot of people there. There were some really cool cars, and then there were some kind of ridiculous cars. I mean, I think the thing that was most ridiculous was the supercar owners who show up like
in a pack.
That's right. Block traffic completely while they wait for like a parking spot and other people to move, and they just expect that like the seas should part for their stupid $250,000 or $300,000 car.
Oh, you're being cheap, Matt. Those were probably $400,000
right.
cars.
Painted purple.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, certainly that. Well, it comes with a certain attitude.
Yes, exactly.
I suppose,
exactly.
They certainly lived up to it as to why people get.
There was that. Do you remember there was that poor lady who I think just inadvertently walked down the street?
Yes,
and she was being blocked by. She was being blocked by kind of run of the mill BMW, but he was being blocked by all the supercar owners.
It had set up a whole. So for those that don't know, this show was on a very narrow 2-lane street, but kind of barely 2 lanes. It's really more comfortable for 1 lane, and like any cars holding anything up would just back traffic up. And so this lady is probably out doing her grocery shopping.
She's trying to get to like Trader Joe's or something, on
a Sunday morning, get stuck at the back of this cluster that's occurring, and she was visibly upset. So she had to turn around, and I don't blame her. Now you and I, if we made a wrong turn into a car show, we're gonna be like, oh, this is great. But I get other people maybe not expecting that.
No.
I would have only enjoyed it had she been driving a Tesla. She wasn't. She was driving a practical, I believe Corolla or something practical. She's just out doing her shopping. If it had been a Tesla, I would have gloated a little bit. Speaking of Tesla, there were a few Teslas that came to the show.
There were a couple.
It was that one god-awful one. It was like painted. What was it? It was like a happy face on the front.
I think that's right.
Bright yellow.
Oh, that's right. It was a Y. It was the Y, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Model Y.
The Model Y with the happy face on
it. The whole thing was painted bright yellow with a happy face on it.
There's a very loose interpretation of like exotics and what kind of cars meet the criteria to be there. That did not meet. No. criteria was that supposed to be there.
No, not at all. Exactly. The criteria is very broad. Lots of stuff that. Maybe we should talk about the elephant in the room at these shows. The multied and varied, the favorite car of old white men everywhere, the Chevrolet Corvette.
Oh my God. Exactly. Old gray-haired white dudes, who finally saved up enough money to buy the supercar of the 1980s.
And the dealer even throws in the members only jacket for free.
Right, exactly. It
comes wrapped in a bow in the seat.
And those mid-engine ones are so stupid, Mark. They look.
Speaking of the new one, right?
The
exactly. C9.
Exactly.
The Ferrari knockoff.
It looks so much like a 360 Modena or something. I don't know. It's just to me, it's why would you buy that car?
We're probably offending quite a few people here.
But who cares? Because you have such bad taste. They have such bad taste.
He's willing to go that it's bad taste.
Come on, they're probably not listening to this podcast.
Because we're not on 8-track.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Right? This podcast don't come on 8-track, so they don't listen to us.
Exactly.
The only justification I have is it is probably for the money. A great value for horsepower to dollar ratio.
Sure.
But
there's so many other cool cars that you can buy.
Yes.
But
it's the quintessential, kind of American muscle car. It has its own culture. But the one, I'm not a big fan of them, but I like the more classic models that have been kept up well. not overdone. Just keep it standard, keep it clean. But there was one, I think it was a C6 with the ridiculous LED headlight show. Do you remember that one? It was parked, and his headlights had all these flashing lights and LEDs, and it looked like something like if you gave like a teenager a budget to put lights on a car, that's what they would do. And the guy
I was thinking more like an 8-year-old.
Or an 8-year-old, yeah. The guy sitting next to it looked like he was 70. I'm like, you did this? Sir, greatest generation? Really? I am shocked and appalled at this. I mean, it was, before you watch the movie, it gives you that flashing lights. I was starting to feel a little epileptic when I was seeing this.
You have no history of epilepsy, but
but I was looking at it like it was because it was a combination of flashing lights and just being offensive.
Yeah, right. Right.
Very disturbing.
Okay, so the Corvettes aside, there was some really cool cars. Actually, the one that really spoke to me was it wasn't that expensive. I don't know. I would guess $40,000-$50,000. I don't really know. The Volvo. It's like a '70s Volvo, 1800. It was like a 2-door shooting brake.
Yeah,
which was just beautiful, and it was
absolutely beautiful.
It certainly wasn't fast, but it was in like really good shape, really well maintained.
I have not posted on the Loud Pedals Instagram page yet, but I will post this at some point in the next few days because amazing. We were talking about it earlier, and I thought clearly you see it. You're like, this is a classic car, 40 years old, but it could also be a car 40 years in the future.
Yes.
I mean, the lines, everything coming together, just absolutely stunning.
That's such a good observation. I 100% agree. And it actually makes me think about other cars that are like that. There are certain cars that are classic, like they're timeless. Like for me, the BMW the E30, like the boxy one, like from the 80s and early 90s.
Yeah.
Like that's going to look good for a long time.
Yeah.
You know what's not going to look good for a long time? Corvettes. Dodge Chargers.
But I don't know. You can add some lights,
the new ones,
some LED lights to the front and spice. So you're saying the Honda Velociter is not a timeless classic, or the Hyundai Velociter is not a timeless classic?
I mean, I could be wrong, but no, I don't think so, dude. I don't think so.
Okay, fair enough. But no, there was some good stuff there.
What did you like? What spoke to you?
That Volvo was probably, I think all three of us, Andy was there as well. I think we all three kind of came away and said and that's not to say the others weren't nice, but once you've been to, Andy probably goes once or twice a month to one of these events. I probably go 6 times a year to one of these local events, maybe a little bit more. So you get used. There's some amazing things, McLarens and other things, but it's those rarities that kind of stick out for me.
Well, exactly, because I mean, some of it seems to be just a competition of who can spend the most on the most ridiculous car,
or the ugliest wrap.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that's a new competition.
Right.
But that they're not aware they're in. They don't realize that they're in this great competition, ugliest wrap.
Yeah, right. So when you see a car like this Volvo, it just sort of it's the exact opposite of that. It's like really honoring something that's like that was of its time and continues to be like sort of I guess of this time as well. Like it's just, and it's well restored, well maintained.
Totally,
and there's clearly a passion behind it as opposed to like I'm just going to open my wallet and spend as much money as possible on the most ridiculous car I can.
Yeah. Well, and some of the BMWs there were really nice too. There was a classic 6 Series turbo in red that was just absolutely pristine. That is posted on our Instagram page. It was just pristine in every way, and so there's a lot of people in Sacramento taking really good care of their automobiles. There's also a guy that is evidently a big fan of the Dodge Viper that was there. I was told 3 of 3 Vipers that were there were all his. I like the Viper. It's just rare enough, and it still looks bizarre. Even now, you look at it like that is unique. That is a unique style.
Yep.
V10.
Yep.
And the ACR version has all sorts of aero kit on it, and it's interesting. So if you haven't been to Euro Sunday,
those are probably expensive to fill up these days. Filling up 3 Vipers.
I think so, a little bit.
I think they get like 6 miles to the gallon.
Yeah. And there was an M5 there that I'm not sure if it was the V8 or the V10. it looked like it could have been a V10, but I not sure. It'd been debadged, and so I didn't know enough about how to spot the difference. But it did have a really good. The plate was, what did it say? It was something about like it needed oil or something.
Oh yeah, another quart or something.
Yeah,
another quart.
Yeah,
add a quart. Something
yeah,
like that.
exactly.
That was good.
I was like, that was a good one.
And actually, the BMW owners represented with the sideshow down the street as some were leaving. I don't know if you remember, there were some wagons.
Yeah, they were very good. They were a lot louder than I thought they were going to be.
They were
showing those supercar owners what's up.
Yeah, right.
So we'll move on past that. So we talked about this before, and this is something that really has been eating away at me because you brought this up, and we've talked about this. You were you were at the dealer.
I was at the dealer. That's right. And I was in the service department getting one of my cars serviced.
Yeah.
I say I do a lot of the work myself.
You know what that means?
Well done. No, so I was getting there was a computer issue I needed reprogrammed from the anti-theft device. So it was actually like kind of relatively small job. And I was talking to the service advisor, and there was a bunch of others. It's all like open floor plan, open office and stuff. And so there's all the other service advisors standing around. And I heard one of them on the phone to a client, somebody who dropped off their car, and he was saying, yeah, unfortunately, the puncture is, in one tire, whatever it was. You have a puncture in one of the tires, and the tire has a very unique tread pattern. So we're recommending a replacement of the tire. Cha-ching. And it's only going to be $450. Exactly. Now, in fairness, I would assume because it's I guess it's an Audi. Okay, so
you like to cut it back. It was an Audi.
I wasn't going to say, but
what's Quattro, Matt? It's Quattro.
Exactly.
So
one
tire goes, you got to get all four.
Yeah. So actually, in a way, they were lucky to some degree that they didn't recommend replacing all four. It really was just the one tire.
Because I've had that recommendation made to me before.
Right. But what I'm assuming is probably a pretty new car, new tires, so they probably felt like, okay, they can still put it on there. But just the fact that I don't think there's a unique tire pattern that cannot be patched. Like, do not take your car to the dealer for a flat tire. That just seems like a recipe for spending
a lot. No, because when we
I'm sorry, I took control of your.
No worries. I mean, now I'm a little bothered.
I didn't know I could press these buttons for.
There you go. Powers has discovered something new he can do. I'm a little worried where this is going.
There's going to be a lot of additional sound effects on future podcasts.
So no, this was something that we talked about it, and it's bothered me for a while because I've had friends, work colleagues, other people tell me after the fact, oh yeah, I went to the dealer and had to get tires, and I'm always like, oh my god, why did you do that? Like, please don't.
I know. There's really no reason.
There's no reason to it, and I'll give you an example. I won't name any companies because they don't sponsor us, so we try to not do that. But we're happily open if they'd like to. They know who they are. You can go online, go on Google, find online tire shops or those that will sell you tires. You don't even have to know the size of your tires. You can plug in the make, model of your car, all the different options, and they'll give you some choices. You can have those. So people are like, what am I going to do? They're going to ship them to me. I don't know how to deal with that. No, you can have them shipped to an installer who will put them on for you.
Yes.
And I actually did this once. I had them shipped to a mobile installer who came to my house.
Perfect.
And all in, after buying tires and paying for the installer, it was significantly, like I'm talking, like I think dealer quoted me upwards of $3,000, and I got out, and these were performance tires on an Audi, so I got out for a little less than $1,200, which is a lot, right? I'm sure a lot of people are like, right now, which nothing. But if you go to the dealer, you're going to pay triple that.
That's exactly
so just don't do it. There's no do the research.
It's not something that requires skill. I mean, there's some. I guess I shouldn't say it quite like that. There's not something that requires a high degree of skill and speciality for the specific car. Like there's of course a skill to it. You don't want somebody who's going to damage your rims and stuff. But when you're talking about things that are specific to the car brands or something that you really requires a mechanic that is knowledgeable about that manufacturer and that model, this is not that. Like this is stretching the tire, putting it on a rim. Like it's pretty straightforward.
Exception I could think of is there are, and I doubt this is a rare occasion, like most of the people that bring up this issue to me are not in this category, but if you own a high-end exotic, there are certain tires that were made specifically for that car, and they're very hard to source independently, so you would likely have to go through your dealer. But we're talking, McLaren, even higher like Bugatti. That's like we're talking like you're in this game at $500,000 and above. Right. In those cases, there are tires that were built specifically for the car and certain uses that you will probably have to go to the dealer to get or the manufacturer. But otherwise, if for your commuter car, for your weekend car, for your Corvette, if that's what you're into, you can find the tires absent supply chain issues, but that's going to affect everybody. That affects dealers just as much as anybody else. Just don't do it.
And take it to an independent. If you have a flat tire, take it to an independent garage to let them evaluate what has caused the flat tire. And if you have a puncture in the tread, most of the time you're going to be fine. They can fix it. They take the tire off the wheel. They drill out whatever, or they pull out whatever's there, and they drill the hole out a little bit so it's even. Mm-hmm. And they put a patch in, and they send you on your way.
Good to go.
In 20 minutes for $20. So most of the time, you don't need a full new tire. Now the exception is if the walls of the tire have been damaged. Yeah, that compromises the structural stability of the tire. You need a new tire then. And I think there's probably some debate as to what constitutes the sidewall and where the location of the puncture actually is. But most of your average punctures can be fixed cheaply and inexpensively. Take it to an independent tire shop or do what Mark said and have somebody come to you.
Yeah, which is the luxury option, but still much cheaper than going to a dealer. And you brought up something, and just one last point, word of advice, because this is where things will get expensive. If you have a flat, try as hard as you can not to move the car on that flat tire, because if you do, any amount of rotation may make the tire unrepairable regardless of what happens. It's happened to me once, and it was had to move it because there was no room where it was parked to get a jack, and I was not able to save the tire.
I know we want to move on, but I actually have a funny story on that. I had the sidewall on the X5 punctured. It just opened up. The tire opened up, and it was an alignment issue, and we should have noticed. It was not a great situation.
Doing your own alignment again.
Yeah, right. Exactly. but there was the tire store was half a mile down the street, and the tire's garbage anyway.
Yeah,
and I knew it, right? And it wasn't so bad that it was going to damage the rim. The rim was still riding on the tire, and it was a run flat tire.
Okay.
And it was pretty funny. So I was like, I'm going to risk it, and I'm going to drive it the half a mile because the tire's junk anyway. And I'm driving down the street, and it's da-dunk, 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 da-dunk. And people, I've got my windows rolled down because I'm listening to make sure that nothing happens.
Yeah.
If I would hear it,
yelling at you.
Hey, you got a flat tire. I'm like, no shit, I got a flat tire. So I'm driving 15 miles an hour in the far right. And I got all my windows down.
You should have been like, really? What?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Although the flip side to that was there are a lot of good Samaritans out there. There's a lot of people who are trying to help out.
Good.
So it made me feel good too.
Good.
The medical marijuana dispensary security guard was really animated. He's like, pull in here for air. I'm like, nah, man, I'm cool. Air's not going to fix this situation.
That's great. Yeah. So we wanted to move on to talk about, we've done this in a few episodes, making some. So look, we're not going to make practical car recommendations. If you're looking for a used car right now, we're looking for what we call balling on a budget.
Balling on a budget. I like that.
You want something luxurious, can't afford a new car. You want something kind of ridiculous. We're not here to tell you about, Civics and Corollas and Hyundais. We're talking about what will stand out. How much fun can you have for a certain amount of money? So right now we're kind of in the $40,000 to $50,000 range.
Which doesn't buy you shit right now.
It doesn't.
Which is kind of a shame.
It doesn't. Though I kind of put myself in a corner. One of the choices, both of my choices are sub 50. But I got to tell you, 2006 Aston Martin Db9 Volante.
That is cool.
$44,994.
What's the service on that, Mark? What percent of that sales budget you have to spend on the service?
You should hold back 20% in service initially. Only 35,000 miles, which I have a suspicion. I don't know this for sure. If anybody is an Aston Martin expert out there, you can tell us that they're getting close to a 40,000 mile service, which is going to be a big punch in the wallet. So, hey, we can get you in for sub 50, but it's up to you to do your own maintenance.
Yeah. I'm happy to help with that. If anybody out there needs a
Matt, about British garages.
Bad mechanic. Oh my God. Mark's alluding to my Land Rover Defender that I just recently imported in 1995 that has spent more time not running than it has running. We're pretty sure it's an ignition issue, but we don't know much
getting
beyond
to
that.
know all the ins and outs of British repair and the cost of maintaining British luxury.
Yeah, Andy was giving me a hard time when he found out that I bought this car, and I didn't exactly appreciate it. and now I really understand it. And it's also compounded by the fact that every part has to come from Europe because it's a gray market engine that was never sold here. And so I can't get any of the parts locally, which is great. Really great.
You've drawn yourself a maze that you can't get out of.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. But this is a cool recommendation, Mark. This is
So
Aston Martin.
think about it.
It's like a silver gray
It's a
V12.
Yeah, convertible. It looks. From the photos we're looking at, it looks. And it's in all places. It's in Porterville, California.
There you go.
At Porterville Ford. I don't mind saying it. They're not a sponsor, but I'm just like going down to your.
I wonder what somebody traded in.
They probably got an F-150 or probably 250. So they had to get I'm like, wow, what's going on in Porterville?
Okay, which is actually a good segment because I know you have another recommendation, but that was actually my recommendation was a used F-150. And I know that we're supposed to be a little bit practical. So sorry, we're not supposed to be practical. So try to get the Raptor. I don't know what those are at right now. But
yeah, they hold their value really well.
I know.
So a used one probably cost as much as a new one right now. It's kind of crazy. But they're making the Ranger. They have a Raptor Ranger or Ranger Raptor.
I saw that.
So that's pretty mean looking. Yeah, totally. What? I see one of your choices here. After we crapped all over Corvette, you're recommending a Corvette. What's this all about? Oh, look at this.
This is amazing. This is a '94 Corvette.
Yeah, 35,000 on the odometer.
Low miles.
Wow.
Black. Well maintained, but it costs $42,000. There is no way that car's worth more than 20. There's just no way.
I probably in a normal time, yeah.
That is so crazy. It's not even that well maintained. They got lights are fogged up a little bit, but
they put tire shine on the wheels.
Yeah, that's true. It's got
to be worth something.
Non-stock badges. This is just a mess.
Oh, is that?
I don't think this
faux carbon fiber badges on one.
Exactly.
Oh, the lights are...
Car market these days, man. This is not really a recommendation. Just
no,
in case anybody
we're supposed to be doing recommendations, here. Matt. I think you've done like an avoid, which we could do that too.
What's your other one? You had another
Okay,
one.
so this is one of my all-time favorite cars. I've just never been brave enough because this is one where the cost of ownership.
Yes.
Open up your wallet and your safety deposit box. Sell your NFTs and your Bitcoin. We got a 2008 Audi Rs4.
Yeah.
That is the V8 version.
Yes.
I forgot what the horsepower was, but for its day, I think I was 420 horsepower.
Damn.
Makes an amazing sound. I've heard these in real life before.
I'm sure.
72,000 miles, actually almost 73,000 miles. Amazing car, makes an amazing sound. It's going to bleed you dry though. Just know this will bleed you slowly
electrical problems, mechanical problems,
suspension problems,
all kind, everything.
Coil problems, oil consumption problems, but it's probably worth it on every level. Now the background of this,
and 13 miles to the gallon.
Oh, to boot, I love it.
To boot.
20 highway though.
Yeah,
that's a lot of extra 7 miles in a gallon on the highway.
But nobody's getting 20 miles.
But that's when it was new.
Yeah, right.
That's when it was new.
And that you're probably having to, nurse that thing along, and you don't buy this.
The great thing about this particular car, if I recall correctly, is this was so Audi isn't really doing the RS4s anymore. They were racing RS4s in what was the Speed World Challenge, which was the racing series back then, and they needed to produce so many road-going versions. So this is a product of that. So it's a twin-turbo V8. The turbo sound when these cars are revving up is just amazing. It sounds like an angry bear coughing. It's just great. So that's my recommendation. But again, entry point about $40,000. But you're probably going to spend double that on maintenance. Yeah. So just be ready. You're really buying an $80,000 car.
Those are your recommendations.
That's my recommendation.
Mark's a real man of the people.
Balling on a budget.
On a budget. I like that. Cool. What else we got?
So what do we got here? Hey, so if you ordered a car recently from Volkswagen Audi Group,
where do you think it would be? Where do you think it might be?
It might be on the bottom of the ocean right now.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, what happened, Mark?
This story's been out there for a while, but a couple of weeks ago, there's this ship, the Felicity Ace, carrying about 4,000 cars from Volkswagen Audi Group. For those that don't know, Volkswagen Audi Group is Volkswagen, Audi, Porsche, Lamborghini, Bentley. Even Bugatti is under that. Lamborghini. I already said Lamborghini. I'm probably missing others. In that we don't know
a lot of manufacturers,
and a lot of cars, about 4,000 cars. The ship has since sunk, which
I was really looking forward to getting some smoke damaged supercar. I mean, because if they brought that to shore, somebody was going to probably resell those.
I know.
You could get a smoke damaged 911 for
I'm telling you,
only 120,000 opposed to 160,000.
I was looking for that smoke damaged Bugatti.
Yeah,
that's the one I'm looking for.
I guess if you're going smoke damage,
but evidently there were electric cars in there as well. We assume maybe some Porsche Taycans and other stuff. So it believed that once the fire started, they're not saying the batteries started the fire, but that's what I'm going to say. Blame it on the batteries. But once the fire took off, the batteries did catch fire, and that was kind of game over.
Yep.
The ship has sunk. Evidently, before there was a salvage team on the way that was going to get these vehicles.
Yeah, I think they got most of the fire out, or they got the fire completely out, and they were starting to tow it, I believe. So down it went.
Who knows? So for those that were actually affected, you've probably already been contacted by your dealer.
We don't have a lot of sympathy for you because
sorry.
I guess that maybe there's some Volkswagen.
Maybe
we're really looking forward to their ID4 or their Golf or something.
You know what? It did you a favor. Did you a favor?
Go back and reorder something else.
Yeah. Let's start over. You regretted it. That's the chance, right? You chose that paint color, and now you're like, what did I do? Now you can go back and change it. It's okay. Maybe even that SQ5 I ordered and didn't get. Maybe it was on there.
Yeah.
So maybe it all worked out for everybody. Dealer doesn't have to have it on the lot. I didn't have to buy it. It's a win-win.
I was pretty nervous because I just was talking earlier about my Land Rover. That came by boat. That came roll-on, roll-off by boat. That was what this ship was. This was a roll-on, roll-off ship. And I had asked for insurance, but I think they didn't end up insuring it. So that was like a nerve-wracking couple weeks when it was on the boat. I was like, because things happen. I mean, you see shots of containers going overboard, and these cars they've sunk in the past, or these ships have sunk in the past. So yeah, can happen.
It's good stuff.
Could you have gone out there and gotten that ship and salvaged it and taken it? That's what I want.
I have heard various legal theories. The law of the sea, finders keepers. But I don't know if that's accurate legal advice. But if I had a boat capable, I would have given it a shot.
I think your SQ7 could probably tow that ship.
They could. I could have. That's right. You're
if
exactly
you could get it out there,
I'd have to get it out there in some sort of pontoon system.
Yeah, exactly, but it's probably got the power to full back.
Fuel costs would have been an issue. That would have been the biggest investment. I think the equivalent amount of fuel needed to get the lunar rocket into the atmosphere would have been required. So anything, I think we should probably wrap it up here. We do have some stuff, I think, for our next episode we're going to talk about. There's an issue that I'm bothered by, and that's not necessarily car subscriptions for the cars themselves, but this Tesla model of making people buy subscriptions for things that should already be included. BMW got jammed on this a few years ago. They wanted to charge people for CarPlay. Well, now there's some new things that manufacturers want to charge for. So I think we're going to talk about that.
Stay tuned for that. We want to talk about speed cameras. There's a possibility speed cameras are coming to California.
Yeah, watch out for that. Powers has experience taking your kids go-karting. I do too, but he's taking it to a different level. We're going to talk about that on another episode.
Yep.
And we're still tracking down. We've made some outreach to CHP to have someone on to talk about winter driving tips. So maybe by summer, when winter's over, we'll have someone.
Might need to hold that episode until next fall.
Yeah. So that's all I got.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks.